Our next topic of conversation involves the Trudeau cabinet minister who has something funny going on with China, of course.
I mean, just another chapter in the 10-volume book of the Liberals being weird with the Chinese regime. And it really is weird. And we've spoken about this before. And obviously we don't have time for everything. But this one is particularly strange. So essentially, we have this French guy, and I've got his name written down. It's Francois Philippe-Champagne, I think. And he's the foreign minister, which is a very important position. You know, there's three, I suppose in this government, there's four important people. And he's in that. He's one of the most powerful men in Canada. Now, it turns out that earlier this decade, he was living in London. He was working for a massive British construction company. And when he was there, he took a mortgage out to pay for 2 flats. Now, what's weird about this, really, really, really strange, is that he didn't go to any of the top 34 banks in London. He went with the 35th largest bank, which is, surprise, surprise, the Bank of China, which is state-owned, you guessed it, by the Chinese regime, Xi Jinping, and his Beijing buddies. So, what is dodgy about this, and why this has potential to be a huge scandal, is that to get a loan or a mortgage rather from the Bank of China, you have to actively seek them out,
Right?
or
Yeah.
they have to actively seek you out, and no one takes a loan from them. I know London pretty well. I've never seen a Bank of China building ever in my time in London, in my time in the UK, in fact. So it's really they had to actually seek him out. And what this means is that one of Canada's top government officials, one of Canada's most powerful men, one of the top people in the Trudeau administration, owes $1 million to the Beijing apparatchiks. And that's bad enough on its own, right? But what could make this even worse? And we don't know this yet. All we know is that it's really weird that he got a loan from them. We don't know what the interest rates were. But if they were amazing interest rates, then there's clearly been some sort of deal here. Now, the second interesting thing which may emerge, and again, I've got to be pretty careful here, and it hasn't yet emerged, but it may. Who knows what may happen? I don't. But if he renegotiated his mortgage whilst he was an MP, because he still owns these properties, right? So
Right.
if he renegotiated his mortgage while he was an MP, he can effectively be accused of using his status as an elected representative of the people to get a really good deal. And there's no reason why he should be going there. So he must have got a good deal, right? He had 2 really nice flats in some very wealthy areas of London, and he was able to afford it. So it's very weird. And I don't know exactly what to think of it.
They can't keep getting away with this. They can't keep getting away with this. How many scandals, how many Chinese government scandals does this liberal government have to be for everyone to just get on their collective anger of like, why isn't everyone in the streets about this? I mean, it's time and time again something to do with China, whether it's not calling them out over a pandemic, letting them stomp all over us in trade, taking our 2 Michaels away from us. We have 2 less Michaels. As I say all the time, Canada has 2 less Michaels. If I ever have twin boys, I'll name them both Michael so that we can get our Michaels back because of this Trudeau incompetence. And I will name them both Michael, I promise.
It's not necessarily incompetence, but what is strange, right, is that there are multiple instances. Firstly, when he refused to name Taiwan, so they asked him, are you going to thank Taiwan for giving us a bunch of surgical masks in the middle of a pandemic? And he pretended to know it didn't exist, or just sort of weren't even going near that name in fear, allegedly, his mortgage might be taken away.
He thanked all countries, of course. You have to thank everyone for doing their part in the world.
Everyone, not Taiwan, every country. And then he's also said, and I don't have the quote here, but I'm going to paraphrase, but I'm not going far off what he said. He said that China and Canada, comparing the 2 countries, are both very open places, very nice places. You know, they're good people. They've got good government. He literally said that. I suppose he didn't literally say it, but you know what I mean. And he did it when he owed $1 million to a Chinese bank, which is the Chinese state. You know, there's something really strange. And let's pretend that he didn't mean to do this. There's no foul play going on there. Let's just say that's true. He still is opening himself up for the Chinese regime to have so much leverage over him. And he's one of Canada's top men. How was this allowed? Why didn't Trudeau ask him about this? Because he says he included it on his ethics report, which he did. Why did nobody read that report and say, hold on a minute, you owe $1 million to China? That might be suspicious.
It's true. And we see time and time again, and I think I've said it pretty much every time we speak, that China has a lot of leverage and they're power hungry. And they are at a coming of age point in the world's kind of economy. And it was actually Napoleon, a historical figure, I think I find pretty interesting, that he said, let China sleep, for when she wakes, the world will shake. It will shake the world. And boy, is China ever waking up and kind of just playing around with us like toys. We were being toyed around.
The earthquake, man.
Oh, we're feeling